Hey everyone, welcome back. They hurt you on purpose, but this is how you make them regret it. Carl Jung. Someone betrayed you. Someone hurt you deliberately. And now they're walking around as if nothing happened, while you're left picking up the pieces of your life. But what if I told you that the greatest revenge isn't what you think it is? What if the key to making them truly regret their actions lies not in retaliation, but in your own transformation? Carl Jung, one of the most profound psychologists in history, understood something crucial about human nature that most people miss. And today I'm going to share with you his revolutionary approach to dealing with those who've wronged you. By the end of this video, you'll understand why your pain is actually your greatest gift and how to turn betrayal into your ultimate comeback. So stay with me until the end, because what I'm about to reveal will change everything you thought you knew about revenge. Chapter 1. The shadow they see in you. Let's start with a truth that might sting. People who hurt you on purpose are often showing you their deepest wounds. Jung called this concept the shadow. Your shadow is the part of yourself you refuse to acknowledge. The traits, feelings, and desires you've buried deep because they don't fit the image you want to project to the world. Think about Sarah. She worked at a marketing firm for 5 years, pouring her heart into every project. Her colleague, Marcus, seemed friendly until Sarah got promoted to the position he wanted. Suddenly, Marcus began sabotaging her work, spreading rumors and taking credit for her ideas. Sarah was devastated. How could someone be so cruel? She asked herself night after night. But here's what Jung would say. Marcus wasn't really attacking Sarah. He was attacking the reflection of his own inadequacy that he saw when he looked at her success. When someone hurts you deliberately, they're projecting their shadow onto you. Your confidence reminds them of their insecurity. Your success highlights their failures. Your happiness exposes their misery. Jung wrote extensively about how we unconsciously project our denied qualities onto others. The person who cheated on you? They likely struggle with their own feelings of unworthiness. The friend who betrayed you? They probably can't forgive themselves for their own mistakes. The family member who constantly criticizes you? They're battling their own self-loathing. This is why people hurt you on purpose. Not because of who you are, but because of what you represent to their wounded psyche. Understanding this doesn't excuse their behavior, but it gives you something far more powerful, perspective. And perspective, as Jung knew, is the first step to liberation. Take a moment right now and think about the person who hurt you. What quality in you might have triggered their shadow? Write it down. This isn't about blame, it's about understanding. Chapter 2. The Trap of Reactive Revenge. Now, your first instinct when someone hurts you is probably to hurt them back. That's natural. That's human. But Jung would warn you about this path. Reactive revenge is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. Let me tell you about James. When his business partner stole his clients and half his revenue, James spent 2 years consumed by thoughts of revenge. He hired lawyers, badmouthed his former partner to everyone in the industry, and spent countless nights plotting ways to destroy his competitor's reputation. And you know what happened? James won some of those battles. His former partner did face consequences. But when I talked to James 5 years later, he told me something shocking. I got my revenge, but I lost myself in the process. I became the very thing I hated, bitter, obsessive, small. This is what Jung called becoming possessed by your shadow. When you seek reactive revenge, you don't transcend the hurt, you amplify it. You become entangled with your abuser in an endless dance of pain. Here's the psychological trap. Every act of reactive revenge keeps you emotionally connected to the person who hurt you. You think you're winning? But you're actually giving them rent-free space in your mind, 24/7. Jung observed that what you resist persists. The more you fight against someone, the more power you give them over your emotional state. Think about it. Have you ever spent hours crafting the perfect comeback message? Stalked their social media to see if they're suffering? Fantasized about them apologizing? That's not freedom, that's bondage. The person who hurt you moves on with their life, while you're stuck in an infinite loop of anger and resentment. But what if there was another way? What if the real revenge was something they could never prepare for, never defend against, and never forget? Stay with me, because that's exactly what we're about to explore. Chapter 3, The Individuation Process. Jung's most powerful concept is what he called individuation, the process of becoming your truest, most authentic self. And this is where your real revenge begins. Individuation isn't about being better than others. It's about becoming whole. It's about integrating every part of yourself, including the parts that were wounded, into a complete, powerful identity. Let me tell you about Maria. Her ex-husband left her after 15 years of marriage for someone younger. He told her she was boring and had let herself go. Maria was 42, with 3 kids, and felt completely destroyed. For months, she fantasized about exposing his affair to his family, ruining his reputation, fighting for every penny in divorce court. But then something shifted. Maria discovered Jung's work and asked herself a different question. What if this pain is trying to teach me something about myself? She realized that she had lost herself in the marriage, not because she was boring, but because she'd abandoned her own dreams to support his. She'd silenced her creativity to be the perfect wife. She'd shrunk herself to fit his expectations. So Maria made a choice. Instead of seeking revenge, she pursued individuation. She went back to school and finished the art degree she'd abandoned. 20 years earlier, she started painting again, something she'd loved but had given up. She reconnected with old friends and made new ones. She traveled to places she'd always wanted to see. 2 years later, Maria had her first art exhibition. Her work was being featured in galleries. She'd lost weight not to please anyone, but because she was actively living life again. She was radiant, confident, and genuinely happy. And then something interesting happened. Her ex-husband reached out. He saw her photos from the art exhibition on social media. He saw her traveling, laughing, thriving. He sent a long message saying he'd made a mistake, that he missed her, that he wanted to try again. Maria read the message, smiled, and blocked his number. That's the power of individuation. She didn't need his validation anymore. His regret meant nothing, because she'd transcended the need for his approval entirely. As Jung said, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. This is the revenge that cuts deepest, not because you've hurt them, but because you've grown beyond them. You've become someone they can no longer reach, no longer diminish, no longer affect. Individuation is the ultimate power move because it's not about them at all, it's about you. So let me ask you, who would you become if you stopped focusing on revenge and started focusing on your own evolution? Comment below. I want to hear your thoughts. Chapter 4, Integration of the Shadow. But here's where Jung's wisdom gets really interesting. True individuation requires something most people aren't willing to do. You must integrate your own shadow. Remember earlier when we talked about how people project their shadow onto you? Well, you do it too. And until you acknowledge this, you'll never be truly free. The person who hurt you has shown you something about yourself that you need to see. I know that's hard to hear, but stay with me. David's best friend betrayed him by starting a competing business using David's ideas. David felt completely justified in his anger. His friend was a thief, a liar, a backstabber. But in therapy, David's counselor asked him a challenging question. What does this situation trigger in you? David resisted at first, but eventually he admitted something he'd never said out loud. Deep down, he'd always feared he wasn't creative enough, that his ideas weren't really that original. His friend's betrayal confirmed his worst fear about himself. By integrating this shadow, this fear of inadequacy, David stopped giving it power. He acknowledged it, worked through it, and realized that his worth wasn't tied to any single idea or business venture. This integration didn't excuse his friend's behavior, but it freed David from the emotional prison of victimhood. Jung believed that we attract certain experiences to show us what we need to heal within ourselves. The betrayal isn't happening to you, it's happening for you. If you were cheated on, maybe you need to learn about your own worth beyond relationships. If you were betrayed at work, maybe you need to recognize your value isn't defined by others' validation. If a friend abandoned you, maybe you need to learn to be your own best friend first. Now, I want to be crystal clear. This is not victim blaming. The person who hurt you is responsible for their actions, but you are responsible for your healing. And healing requires honest self-examination. Jung taught that the shadow contains both our worst traits and our greatest untapped potential. When someone hurts you, they're inadvertently showing you where your power is hiding. The betrayal reveals where you've been giving your power away. The abandonment shows where you haven't been showing up for yourself. The criticism exposes where you've been too harsh with yourself. And when you integrate these shadows, when you reclaim these hidden parts of yourself, you become unstoppable, not in an aggressive way, but in a centered, grounded, authentic way that no one can shake. This is how you make them regret it. Not through attack, but through alchemy, by transforming your pain into power. Chapter 5, The Silent Glow-Up. Now we get to the practical part, the silent glow-up. This is your strategic action plan, rooted in Jungian psychology. The silent glow-up means you disappear from their radar while you completely reinvent yourself. No announcements, no social media updates, no explanations, just pure focused transformation. First, cut energetic cords. This means no contact, no social media stalking, no mutual friends giving you updates. Jung believed that psychic energy flows where attention goes. Every time you check on them, you're feeding energy to that relationship. Stop, cold turkey. Second, channel the emotional energy. All that anger, hurt, and resentment, that's fuel. Jung called it psychic energy, and it's incredibly powerful when redirected. Start that business. Write that book. Learn that skill. Transform your body. Build your wealth. Whatever you've been putting off, now is the time. I know a woman who channeled her divorce grief into becoming a marathon runner. She'd never run more than a mile in her life. But she needed somewhere to put all that pain. Within 2 years, she'd completed 5 marathons and had completely transformed her health, confidence, and friend circle. Third, embrace radical self-honesty. This is the shadow work. Journal every day. Ask yourself the hard questions. How did I contribute to this situation? What red flags did I ignore? What patterns do I keep repeating? And this isn't about blame, it's about breaking cycles. Fourth, build your inner authority. Jung talked about the importance of developing your own internal validation system. You need to become the person whose opinion of you matters most. Stop seeking closure from them. Stop waiting for the apology. Stop needing them to understand your perspective. You understand. That's enough. Fifth, cultivate mystery. The silent glow-up is powerful because they don't see it coming. One day they look up and you're just gone. No drama, no explanation. Just absent from their world. And then months or years later, they hear about your success. They see your transformation, and they realize what they lost. But here's the beautiful irony. By the time they realize it, you won't care anymore. That's when you know the transformation is complete. The person who hurt you knew. The old version of you, the one who would tolerate disrespect, who would dim their light, who would sacrifice their needs. The new you is a stranger to them. And that is the most powerful revenge. Chapter 6, Living Well as the Ultimate Revenge. We've reached the final and most important lesson from Jung's work. Living well is the ultimate revenge, but not for the reasons you think. Most people think living well is the best revenge. Means making your ex jealous or proving your critics wrong, but that's still reactive. That's still giving them power. True revenge, Jungian revenge, is when you live so fully, so authentically, so completely that you forget why you ever wanted revenge in the first place. There's a man named Alex whose story perfectly illustrates this. His father was emotionally abusive throughout his childhood, constantly telling Alex he was worthless, that he'd never amount to anything. For years, Alex was driven by a need to prove his father wrong. He became successful, wealthy, accomplished, but he was miserable, because every achievement was still about his father, still reactive, still driven by that original wound. Then Alex started therapy and discovered Jung's work. His therapist asked him, "What would you do with your life if your father had never existed? If that wound wasn't driving you?" Alex realized he didn't even know. He'd never asked himself what he wanted, separate from proving anything to anyone. So Alex started over. Not starting over in life, starting over in intention. He kept his business, but shifted why he was doing it. He reconnected with his love of teaching and started mentoring young entrepreneurs. He spent more time with his own kids. He pursued hobbies that brought him joy, not status. And something remarkable happened. His father reached out years later, older and softer, attempting reconciliation. And Alex found that he felt nothing, not anger, not vindication, just neutral compassion for a flawed human being. That's when Alex knew he'd won. Not because his father finally acknowledged the hurt, but because the hurt no longer defined him. Jung said, "I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become." This is the pinnacle of individuation. When you've so completely become yourself that the people who hurt you become irrelevant to your story. They're just characters who appeared in one chapter of a much larger book. Living well means waking up excited about your life, not thinking about their downfall. It means genuine laughter, not performed happiness for social media. It means peace, not victory. Contentment, not vindication. And here's the beautiful paradox. When you reach this state, that's when they regret it most, because they finally see what they had and lost. They see someone who's moved beyond them so completely that their apology or regret means nothing. You've become immune to their influence. And that immunity, that freedom, that peace, that's the revenge Jung would approve of. So let's bring this all together. Someone hurt you on purpose. They projected their shadow onto you. They made you question yourself. They caused real pain. But what if that pain was the catalyst you needed to become who you were always meant to be? Carl Jung's wisdom teaches us that true revenge isn't about making someone else suffer. It's about refusing to suffer anymore yourself. It's about taking your power back through individuation, shadow integration, and authentic living. Cut the energetic cords. Channel the pain into transformation. Do the shadow work. Build your inner authority. Embrace the silent glow-up. And ultimately, live so well that revenge becomes irrelevant. The person who hurt you expected you to stay broken, to stay bitter, to stay small. Prove them wrong by becoming expansive, by healing, by thriving. I want to leave you with one last thought. There's an old Buddhist saying that Jung would have appreciated: holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. Your revenge is letting go of the poison. Your revenge is healing. Your revenge is becoming so completely yourself that their opinion becomes background noise. If this video resonated with you, do me a favor, don't just hit the like button and move on. Take action today. What's one thing you can do right now to start your individuation journey? Maybe it's finally blocking that person's number. Maybe it's starting that project you've been putting off. Maybe it's booking that therapy appointment. Comment below and tell me, what's your first step toward living well? I read every comment, and I want to support you on this journey. And if you found value in this video, subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell. We dive deep into psychology, philosophy, and personal transformation every week. This is just the beginning of your journey. Remember, they hurt you on purpose. But your purpose is bigger than their hurt. Go show them. No, forget them. Go show yourself what you're really capable of. The best revenge is becoming the person who no longer needs it. Until next time, keep growing, keep evolving, keep becoming. I'll see you in the next video.